Welcome to the channel. My name is Matthias. Today, we're finally back talking about the MCU. And today, we're going to touch on Wakanda Forever, which would be Black Panther 2. Now, I loved the first Black Panther movie. I thought it was fantastic. It's probably within my top 10 favorite superhero movies of all time. And everyone knows that, sadly, the main actor, Chadwick Boseman, passed away. Now, I do not know at what moment of the production of this film that happened, but you can tell that there were some major course corrections for Wakanda Forever. The first part of this movie is sort of a mess. It's very disjointed at moments. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. So let's do our basic breakdown, talk about the main hero to this movie, which would be Shuri. That canonically, she would be Black Panther's sister. She's played by Letitia Wright. It takes a while for this movie to say, yeah, this is our main character, and we're going to put the weight of the movie on her. Shuri really doesn't get the spotlight until the last third of the movie. When she does a fantastic job. Like everything that Shuri is going through in this flick, it's very compelling. Her personal life is just in shambles. She's dealing with the tremendous loss of her brother, and just in case, spoiler warnings, like if you haven't seen the movie, it's worth watching, but and now she loses her mother to the main villain of the movie, Namor. And you get this great transition from a person that's in mourning and sadness to being fueled by rage and wanting to take vengeance. It's a shame that they couldn't do like they did in the comics, where Shuri consumes a heart-shaped herb and Bast refuses her. And when she reawakes, she sort of lies to everyone that she was accepted by Bast and she takes up the mantle of Black Panther. And that was like a really interesting part of her story arc in the comic books. In this case, like within the MCU, Bast is not like this giant cat god. When she consumes a heart-shaped herb, instead of seeing her ancestors and her brother, I thought it was a really cool detail that she sees Killmonger, and her whole interaction with Killmonger is chef's kiss. Like that part's fantastic. Now, this movie has way too many side characters, and there's a lot of focus put on them to the point that you feel that this flick could have been maybe a Marvel series and they could have broken it down that way. They totally compete for the spotlight throughout the whole movie. And let's go through the list of side characters. You have Nakia, who I didn't like her role in this movie in general. Then you have Okoye, M'Baku, Ayo, Riri Williams, that we're going to get into further down in this video. You have Everett K. Ross. You have Valentine Fontaine. And you also have the Queen Mother of Wakanda, Raymonda. All fascinating characters, but they sort of make the movie lose its focus. I understand they do push the narrative forward, but they take time away from Shuri. Now, with Namor, I thought they did a fantastic job, and this reimagining of the character is really interesting. Tying him to Central American mythology and stuff like that. That was super interesting, at least for me. He's a pretty sophisticated villain. He has a lot of layers to him. And at the same time, he feels very, very menacing. The Atlanteans in general feel pretty scary. There's like a couple of scenes that like my younger kids were sort of freaked out. Also, the final battle that we get between Shuri and Namor, that really kicked ass. Like you felt that the stakes were really high, that Shuri was out for blood. Now, the plot to the movie, it's also great. I just feel that the director just really struggled to give us a story in the first place. Again, at the beginning of the movie, it's sort of all over the place. The whole idea of these two warring nations that were, well, Wakanda's not secret anymore, but Namor's people are. I call them Atlanteans. They're not called Atlanteans in this movie, sorry. Now, everything feels very, very sidetracked when they're trying to shoehorn a character into this flick, because you know they're trying to set up something with her, and it's Riri Williams. Ironheart, a character that I don't like in the comic books, and in this movie, I just really didn't like what they were going for with her. Again, taking focus off the main character, Black Panther, or the new Black Panther, and just giving Riri too much screen time. It's not that much, but like when you see her, it's like, really? Now, the production work on this movie, Obviously, it's going to be fantastic. Special effects are better compared to the first movie, but there's a couple of moments where FX really suck, like very specific moments where the CG looks really iffy. And then there's like a couple of scenes in these caves that are being used by Namor as cells for Shuri and for Riri that painfully look like Nickelodeon sets, like the stalactites and the rock walls and everything just look like styrofoam. They look terrible. Aesthetically, Wakanda looks great. Also, we get to see a little bit more of the area of Wakanda where M'Baku lives. That part looks pretty cool too. Atlantis, that's not called Atlantis, looks fantastic. So we talked about two of the major issues that I didn't like about the movie. Riri, some of the special effects, and there's one scene that sort of took me out of the movie. It's like, nope, this is just not working. And I feel like whoever wrote it thought they were super clever when they talk about the origins of the name of Namor. That it's a conjunction of two words in Spanish, no amor, and it's Namor. I just face palmed in the theater. It's like, no, no, that doesn't work. That sounds really, really cheesy. I know Namor's original name is just Roman written backwards. That I know that wouldn't have worked in the movies either, but I thought it was a unnecessary detail that to a Spanish speaker again sounds super stupid. I did like how they do dive into Central American culture and into their lore, and there's some effort put into that, and that's cool. Oh, and before I go, like something that's pretty noticeable in this movie is that the soundtrack isn't as good as the first one. But overall, outside of a couple of scenes that again they sort of take me out of the movie, um, I did like the flick, and I'm gonna give it a stupid score of 20.